Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm Speaks, Jared and Bob here. I think before I get into some dim stuff that not necessarily like politics, really. I guess you could say it's global politics. Before we get into that stuff, um, I got a question for you that's more sports related. I gotta try and stay away from politics and more sports, but regardless. Um, I was thinking after watching last week's um, NFL slate that now has been, I would say, reinforced from this weekend. Um, is this potentially the best quarterback draft class since 2004? So for anyone out there that doesn't remember, 2004 gave us Eli Manning, Philip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger. So that's three Hall of Famers, or at least three future Hall of Famers, in my opinion. You got two
Who else got
guys.
drafted that year? Patrick Ramsey?
Uh,
No, that was 2002. 2004. Fuck. Someone else definitely got drafted.
oh yeah, there were other guys. I looked this up the other day. Hold on. Um,
Larry Fitz went that year. Oh, so that year the whole draft was good. That was like the big thing with 2004. Sean Taylor,
yeah. So yeah,
Will Fork.
I only
No,
have
I mean,
the
dude,
quarterbacks.
someone shitty got drafted.
So 2004. Um, yeah, Rivers, Roethlisberger, Manning, and then Matt Schaub was in that
Well, he
draft.
was later on, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
And then
he ended up being fine, right? He was
Romo
he
was
was fine.
undrafted that year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So here is my problem with agreeing with you. Actually, I have a couple problems. My first problem is the 2021 class because when the 2021 class started in their first year, it was Trevor Lawrence looks good, Mac Jones looks good, Trey Lance was waiting, Justin Fields. It's like, well, if he can, kind of like learn and develop, like he'll be good because he's athletic.
yeah, he had the
And
potential.
who am I missing?
I don't know who was in that 21 draft
Trey
other than
Lance?
those guys.
No,
You
Trey
said,
Lance. Oh,
yeah, you
Zach
said
Wilson. And then
Trey.
Zach Wilson was the same thing as Fields. Like, he just might need some time to develop. He's on the Jets. The Jets have no offensive line, like whatever. So leaving 2021, everyone felt pretty good about those five quarterbacks. And now the only one still with their team is Trevor Lawrence.
Correct.
And he seems to be very mediocre at best.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah,
there
it's
was
tough.
definition,
He's shown flashes of being very, very good, but he's also been very bad
yeah,
at
I think he,
times too.
but I think ultimately he is just fucking
He's fine.
average.
Yeah, he's just fine.
And it's like if the team around him is good, then they'll probably be a fringe playoff team. And if the team around him is not good, like they have the worst defense or the worst passing defense, whatever it is this year, I don't know which one,
Yeah.
then they will not be very good. So leaving 2021, you thought that you had two legit starters, three guys that are probably fine, need some development, whatever. And then 3 years later, which is usually when you want to grade these draft classes, 3 years later, none of them are on the same teams. And the only guy that's still on his team and signed a second contract is, again, he's just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, he's somewhere between, in any given year, somewhere between the 10th and 17th best quarterback
Most
in the
likely. Yeah.
NFL.
And if he has like a career year, he might be like seventh.
Yeah.
Now he's getting banged up and he was banged up at the end of last year and the team collapsed. Like,
Yeah.
they may have went to the playoffs and I don't know, maybe do they win a game last year? I don't know. I don't know what the matchups would have been.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see. on
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence. Now, coming back to 2024, now I know it's one season.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, man. I don't think these quarterbacks are particularly good because if we think about who is good in the NFL, right?
So yeah, yeah, keep going.
So
I'll
it's Mahomes, it's Allen, it's Lamar Jackson, it's
Jackson,
Brock Purdy,
Joe Burrow.
um, Joe Burrow. I mean, I'm watching. It's Geno Smith out here. He's fine.
Yeah. Jordan Love seems to be a
And so
top
that's kind of where
10
I was gonna
quarterback.
kind of
Like
go with this is like
Jordan
even if
Love is somewhere between 5 and 10.
in like if you think critically about this, so it's Williams, it's Daniels, May, and Nix. Am I missing a guy, or is it those four?
Yeah, I think that checks it.
May, Nix, Daniels, because it went 1, 2, 3,
Yep. Michael Penix was in the first round, but he's not
but
playing.
he's not playing.
Yeah, so
So
that was your other one. That was your
right.
five.
So if you ask me to name quarterbacks better than these four, because now this is the thing. Some people will say, "Oh, well, you got to give him time." Well, that didn't work for Zach Wilson, Justin Fields,
Right.
Trey Lance, Mac Jones.
Right.
And when some of these other guys came into the league or started their first year, Mahomes won an MVP as his first year starting. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson was drafted in 2018 and won a 2019 MVP. Joe
Right.
Burrow was drafted in 2020 and he went to the Super Bowl in 2021, beating Mahomes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, of all of these guys, like, could any of them win the MVP next year? I think the only person that could is Jaden Daniels.
and I actually, so we're starting to see a little bit like, now this is what Washington is.
Yeah.
Good offense. Don't take anything away. They are a good offense.
Yeah.
But a lot of their good offensive performance came against very, very bad defenses. So every time Ian Mack told us this in
Right.
his pod, not you and me, but told everyone in his podcast. He goes, when they've played an average defense, not good, an average defense, they have not been the team that we've seen,
Well, it's a bit of the Cliff Kingsbury effect too, which Ian Mack
which
has
he's
talked
talking about.
about.
Yeah. But either way, it was that Bears game. The Bears were the only team that had an average defense.
Yeah.
In the Commanders scored 18 points, six of them on the Hail Mary. So effectively, they scored 12
Right. Right.
because luck comes into that.
Yeah.
And even today, luck. They got an onside kick. No, I'm sorry, they did not. Sorry, there was a lot going on in the witching hour.
Yeah.
They did not get an onside kick. Sorry.
It was a
They
clown
had
show. No,
the
circus is what they
85
called it.
yard. They had the 85-yard touchdown to McLaurin where the Cowboys couldn't tackle.
Yeah, and then they missed a fucking field goal kick.
So then it's like, okay, 22 points against that Cowboys defense. I wouldn't say that's a great offensive performance. It's good,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
not
it's
great.
certainly good, right? But it's not blowing the doors off.
So I would actually make the argument that the 2020 class is better than this class. And it's going to be hard for these guys to surpass that, in my opinion, because that's Burrow, Herbert, and Tua.
Yeah. Okay.
And there might be one more, but I think it's those three.
Yeah.
I forget now. They take so many guys
Yeah.
in the first round now because it's like not that big a deal, right?
Right. Was
JP Lossman
Purdy in
also went in
2020?
04. Purdy, was he 2021?
I know obviously he was a Mr. Irrelevant, but I don't know if he was 2020 or 2021.
Um, yeah, top of my head, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he was not 2020. Tay Crowder was Mr. Irrelevant.
Okay.
So 2020 first round, because I'm not going to go too far beyond that. Burrow to a Herbert in that order. And then Jordan Love was also 2020.
Okay.
So it's going to take a lot for this class to surpass that.
Yeah.
And now some of you might be listening and being like, well, do you really like Tua, Herbert, and um
Love.
Love? Like, and then like you could even make the argument for Burrow, like good player, but like, what have the four of them really done?
Right.
Right? Like
Right.
they haven't won MVPs that Lamar Jackson has won and Mahomes has won. They haven't won Super Bowls that Mahomes. Like they've never even given them a fight.
Right.
The only quarterback that has given the Chiefs a real fight is was Burrow at home, I think. I think they got him at
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
and Josh Allen. That's the fight.
Yeah.
There hasn't been fight from these other people.
Right.
And the Packers, did they fucking really put it to the Cowboys last year, or did they get it put to them? I don't remember.
I think they did the pudding
Yeah, they
because I
fucking
don't think the
embarrassed them.
Cowboys have won a playoff game in like almost a decade.
They fucking put it to them, but
Yeah.
then they lost to San Francisco. Like, and I think Love is above average. I think that's where we're at with him. Like,
Yeah, I think he's
he's
good.
he's only been starting 2 years, but like, do you want him on your team? Yeah, I think I do.
You want to talk about a horseshoe stuck up your ass, though? The fucking Green Bay Packers franchise. You went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Like
Well, I
that's
guess
this the statistical probability of that has got to be like absurdly like
I would say it's
infinitesimal.
low. I would say it's low, but then not for nothing, they also drafted the guys early. So it's like in
Right.
2020, did you need a receiver? Probably.
Yeah.
Did you need some help, maybe defensively? I don't know. Yeah. What did they do? They took a quarterback and put him on the bench for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And that's what they did with Aaron Rodgers. Put
Right.
him on the bench.
Right.
So yes, I do think they got lucky that the guys all panned out because you could have got Trey Lance,
Yeah.
or not specifically, but like on that idea.
Right. Right.
Um, or like even in 2005, like Aaron Rodgers may not have slipped to you. Shouldn't have slipped to you. He did.
Yeah, I know.
Um, so
2005
yeah, I
was
mean,
decent, right? That was Alex
it was
Smith
just Alex Smith and
and Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers. That was
Rodgers, but it
it.
took
Yeah.
Alex Smith like 7 seasons to figure it out.
Right.
Like he really wasn't good till 2011.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, right now in my book, 2020 is better than 2004, and that's without even actually looking back.
2020 is
Um,
better than 2004 or 24.
no, sorry, 2024, 2024.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
No, because you're not going to beat 2000. So you do have a dud with JP Lossman,
Well, yeah. I mean,
but here's the other part. Those guys, I think Rivers sat 2 seasons. I think he sat 04 and 05 behind Drew Brees, or he came in 05 for Drew Brees when he got
yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
Eli effectively started. I mean, Kurt Warner literally started immediate those games, but
Yeah.
effectively Eli came in like halfway through the season.
Right.
And Ben Roethlisberger went like 14-1 as
Yeah.
a starter his rookie year.
Yeah.
And then they won Super Bowl the next year.
Yeah.
So this is like my only thing, and I'm gonna get to my point because a lot of people want to it, especially around here. It's easy. The typical one is May, right? Like because it's like, wow, he
Yeah.
only good player on the team, and I'm like, it's not saying a lot. And I'm like, not for nothing. I
He's the
like, and I
third. He's the third best quarterback in this draft.
I think it's a coin flip with him and Caleb Williams because Caleb Williams at
For
times just
four,
where's wait
I put
who am
Caleb
I missing?
Williams,
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. So I say it goes Jaden Daniels, Bo
Honestly,
Nix,
dude, I
then
forgot
Drake
about Bo
May,
Nix.
and then Caleb
It is that.
Williams,
Yeah, it is that. I forgot Bo Nix
which is
existed.
hilarious because yeah, as things typically kind of happen, Caleb Williams, the number one overall pick, is the fourth best quarterback of the four.
Yeah, but I mean, the Broncos. So this is the other piece of bad teams. The Broncos have a good coach.
Right.
Now, I don't know the construction of their offensive line. I don't know the health of that offensive line. Their defense is awesome.
Their defense is
So,
very good. Yeah.
like, he's in a good situation. He has a good coach, and then I'm left to assume that he has the other pieces. Jaden Daniels is probably playing quarterback the best this year. out
Yeah.
of these four guys. Um, I think May is in the worst situation.
Yep. I
I
would agree with
think
that. I
he
mean,
he
by and far. Yeah.
so not only does he lacks talent, he lacks health. His coaches suck,
Hmm.
and the defense isn't playing well. So it's
Right.
like May's in the worst position.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, like Caleb Williams has shitty coaching, but he's
but he's
got
got good
talent. He's
players.
got talent on offense. Their offensive line is probably almost as bad as the Patriots, though.
Ugh.
But he has three stud wide receivers, and their defense is very good.
Yeah, and
So
Cole
like
Kmet's a good
Caleb
tight end. Well,
Williams
I mean,
has
May's got a good tight end too.
he's got Caleb Williams has everything but the offensive line and the coach.
So really, the only thing he has more than Drake May is a little bit of talent
Yeah. Well, no, the defense.
and the defense. Sorry, and the
Yeah.
defense. Um. So yeah,
So
I mean, like, I'll be honest though, I'm seriously not convinced any of these four guys are going to be more than an average quarterback going forward. Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, has the most potential,
yeah.
but I do find it mildly concerning today, November 24th, 2024. Today, week 10, 11. I don't even know where they're at. Week
12.
11, 12. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I do find it a little concerning that they beat up on bad teams and then they're fine against good teams.
Yeah.
So that's a serious TBD because, on the other hand, sometimes rookies look bad against bad defenses and bad
Right.
against good defenses. And
Right.
then
Right.
it's like, this is useless.
I mean, all things considered, though, I would be fine with a team led by a rookie quarterback winning the games they're supposed to win, right? If they're going to beat up on the bad teams, that's fine, right? Because you have New England, on the other hand, who loses to bad teams,
Yeah. But
right?
the Commanders also just lost to the Cowboys and they should have lost to the Bears. So it's like, the Hail Mary was an awesome play. They should not have won that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then when you look around the league, right? Like, so Mahomes clear in a way the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm not
Right.
listening to any other argument.
Yeah. It's
Then
Mahomes and then
then just below them, it's Lamar
it's
Jackson,
Lamar
Josh
Jackson
Allen,
and Joe Burrow.
Joe Buck. Yeah, although I need to start seeing something out of that guy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's fair.
that's an
He kind
aside.
of he burned bright at the beginning and then kind of fizzled out a little bit over the
Well,
last
because
2 years.
it's like it's again, I look at it like, what have you done for me? Like, not even lately, but like, oh, well, I
Yeah.
got to a Super Bowl. Yes, you did. Very nice.
Yeah, in 2021. That was three
What'd you
years
do in
ago.
2022, 2023, or 2024?
Right.
Got banged up last year. Didn't do much in 2022
Right.
that I remember. So what makes, like, that's the thing with Joe Burrow, like, you can show me some metrics, sure. But right now, Mahomes is top of the fucking hill.
Yeah.
What are any of you doing to beat him? Now, Lamar Jackson, chokes in the playoffs, chokes in the playoffs. Why the fuck they didn't run the ball last year, I will never fucking figure out.
Yeah. Well, now they have Derrick Henry, so they have no excuse.
So we'll
If they
see.
have
We'll see
him
if
and
they
they
can
make it
knock
and
him
they
off.
still
But
don't
now,
run the
but now, but
ball,
now their pass defense isn't good.
true.
They can't stop the pass. What's going to happen with Mahomes
Yeah.
or Allen, whoever you draw?
Right. Right.
And yeah, I mean, I think Josh Allen's probably having one of his best statistical seasons. He wasn't turning the ball over early. He has the least amount of talent he's always had.
Right.
So, and I mean, I kind of ignored the NFC. I just again, top of my head, I don't know the quarterbacks too well. Top of my head, like, who's even the number one NFC team right now?
Uh, is it Minnesota?
Oh, it's Detroit.
Oh, well, yeah, 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 Detroit.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Detroit. But like again, so it's like Jared Goff. what is he as a quarterback? I don't know, but this year he is above average. Like,
Yeah.
do I trust him to win a Super Bowl? I do not.
Yeah.
Do I
Unless he
trust
can go on a Tim Thomas like run.
But do I trust the entirety that is the 2024 Detroit Lions to win a Super Bowl?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I trust the 2024 Detroit Lions, the way that they're constructed and the way they've been playing this year. I trust them to win a Super Bowl, but I don't trust their past history and I don't trust their quarterback's past history and I don't trust the fact that none of them have been there before. Like,
Right. If they get down 24-10, right, to Mahomes in the
what
playoffs,
does that look like?
it's going to be a disaster, right? Like
But you would
I
think,
don't think Jared Goff is good enough to come back from a deficit like that. Say at halftime, right? Say at halftime it's 24-10. Do you
yeah,
think
that
Jared
defense, they
Goff is
can't
good
give up
enough
24 and a half. That's not
to
going to work.
yeah, but like I don't think Jared Goff is good enough to come back from a 24-10 deficit at halftime.
I think if so, but like I've only seen minimal Detroit Lions games. If huge if, because we've seen the Lions, I'm sorry, the Ravens not run the fucking football in the playoffs.
Yeah,
But if they play the style that they play now, they get bunches and chunks and they maybe break one and they maybe don't.
right.
And then, like that offense is fucking good. And they've got good backs, they've got good receivers, or at least one good receiver, and then everyone else mixes in well. And their offensive line's good.
Yeah.
It will come for them, it will come down. Can the coach help himself from trying to fucking fuck it all up?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing against the Chiefs, they will do that. If the scenario you mentioned plays out, they are fucking cooked. And they
Right.
shouldn't be.
Right.
Because if you just run your offense, the Lions, that offense is good. And it's good enough to come back from honestly anything. Because they move the ball. And again, bunches, no bunches,
Right.
10 plays, 5 plays, doesn't matter.
Right.
But the coaches can't seem to help themselves when that shit happens. Um,
The Raiders are trying to kick in the backdoor cover right now on the Broncos.
yeah. Um,
Of course, because I have the Broncos -5.5.
there you have it. So yeah, I mean, I know it's a big time we'll see, but I'm actually more down on the 2024 class. And because if we're going to talk about them being 2004 good, they need to be good now.
Yeah.
Because out of the gate, Ben Roethlisberger
Like you said,
was
Ben
awesome.
Roethlisberger won Super Bowl in his second year, right? He was 14 and
Super
1
Bowl in
as
his
a
second
rookie.
year, and he went 15-1 as a rookie.
Yeah.
So one guy has to do something along
Philip
those lines.
Rivers made it to the AFC Championship game and lost his second year, right? In
Um,
2006.
2006
His first full year as a
and
starter, right?
2000s. We beat them in '06 and '07.
Yeah.
Were they both AFC Championship games? I don't know if they were.
I don't think so, but I know oh
I want
06 was, I think,
Okay, so '06 was
because
yeah,
that
so I
was
mean,
obviously the year we lost to the Giants.
which also matches what Joe Burrow did. Second year,
Right.
you get to your championship game.
Right.
Like and I know what people say. It's like, oh, well, the team sucks. It's like, yes, they do. The
Yeah.
Commanders, the Bears. I thought the Broncos. I mean, they're 6-5. They'll
They're
be
about to
six
be
and
seven
they'll be
and
seven
five
and five.
in about 18
Um,
seconds.
and they'll probably get pumped in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, like, you need to have high level success, and that's not coming. In my opinion, that's not coming from these guys. And the more I watched Drake May, now I did fall asleep. Full disclosure, I fell asleep during the game today, and then I woke up and it was 24-0. And around here, it's like, oh well, he makes the game fun to watch. Yeah, he does, but he's also a rookie.
Yeah.
If he's doing this same shit next year, it's not going to be fun to watch.
Right.
No, it probably
Right.
won't be his fault because I think he is better than Mac.
Not my fault.
And I heard someone describe Drake May as Justin Herbert's body with Josh Allen's style.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a
So,
lot of
because people
sense.
say it's like, oh, well, he's not, well, you can't say that. He's not as physical as Josh Allen. Like, did you hear me? Did you hear what the fuck I said?
Right.
I said he's Justin Herbert's body, Josh Allen's style.
Because
So
everyone
yes,
compares him to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen is a fucking horse, dude. He's like 250.
like Nikos calls him a moose. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking gigantic.
What
Held
is he?
on and
Six
covered
six foot six
Broncos.
five? Oh hell yeah. 6'5", 250, something like that,
Something crazy,
240.
dude. Like
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 Drake May's probably like
imagine hitting a
220,
car
two
with
twenty
that.
five.
Like
Yeah.
um yeah, so that's the thing. He's way close. He is the same size as Justin Herbert.
Right. Right.
Now he runs the ball, broken plays, moves in the pocket. Like that's what Drake May does. And that's cool. Like that can work
Right. Right.
as we're seeing. That style of play also takes time to develop. So
Yeah, it took Josh Allen 3 years to
in his third season, he stopped being a complete fucking moron.
yeah, I mean, he still has moments where he goes full retard, but
Yeah, but he used to overthrow everybody.
yeah, he was
Um,
bad. Like Josh Allen was flat out bad his first two
Definitely, he was
seasons.
seriously bad in 18-19.
Yeah.
He might have started to figure it out in 20, and then by 2021, he was throwing some really fucking good footballs.
Yeah. But then they also went and got Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, but if you remember the 2021 season, so the Patriots played them in the playoffs and got thumped.
Yeah.
But that year, it was the other game, the second game against Buffalo, because the first game was the Hurricane game. In the second game against Buffalo, he was sitting there just throwing dime after dime to Isaiah McKenzie,
Oh
like
yeah.
over people's hands, these incredible, like these balls that were just going into these windows that like
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing and the Patriots weren't getting.
Yeah.
So, like, credit to him, I guess. But
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't that the Hurricane game where they ran the ball like 42 times
they
or
threw the
something
ball
like that?
3 times.
3 times. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was.
Um, yeah, the Patriots threw it 3 times and won.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like Drake May is going to take some time to develop. So he won't be, but this is what I mean is if we're going to go back to '04, he needs to be like Phillip Rivers
Yeah. So
or
so
even
what
Eli, because
if
Eli won his Super Bowl in his fourth year.
yeah. So hear me out here, right? So like I understand where you're coming from, right? About the if they want to compete, they need to be good like next year.
Yes.
That I think that's fair, right?
Only
But
one of them has to.
but I think as a whole, right, you're judging the class at the end of it. So we're playing the game, right, where we're projecting 15 years from now. Um, but 15 years from now, what if, you know, what if Jaden Daniels, for whatever reason, I don't know why, doesn't get a second contract, right, with the Redskins, goes somewhere else, wins 3 Super Bowls, right? Or, maybe it wouldn't be Jaden Daniels. Maybe it would be like Bo Nix or someone like that, right? Like, let's just say one of these guys doesn't get a second contract. They go somewhere else. They win a Super Bowl, right? Jaden Daniels ends his career with 3 MVPs, maybe a Super Bowl, right? Drake May probably is like a Phillip Rivers, right? Has a really solid career, a record-setting year, right? Numbers wise, but never wins a Super Bowl. Kind of sniffs an MVP, maybe gets one, right? Maybe gets one, but never really kind of gets close other than that. And then Caleb Williams, he's probably the fourth best out of all of them. Maybe he's just kind of fine, right? Um, at the end of that, what if 3 of them, right? 3 of the 4 have a Hall of Fame worthy career, right? Because that's the whole thing is how many Hall of Fame quarterbacks are you going to put in there? And in my opinion, I know none of these guys are in yet, but in my opinion, all 3 Manning, Rivers, and Roethlisberger should be in the Hall of Fame, right?
I would
There's only
agree.
one
Phillip
other
Rivers, I could
class.
see. I could see if you don't put Phillip Rivers in, that's Hall of very good, but I would
Yeah,
agree probably.
there's one class that has in the history of the NFL that has 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and it's 1983. That was Dan Marino, John
Elway,
Elway, Jim Kelly.
Tony Eason.
Yeah,
Um,
Tony Eason and Ken O'Brien. Um, but 1983 is the only class that, in my opinion, is probably the greatest class of all time. Um, but it's the only class that has three Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So that's why I say '04. I think they have three Hall of Famers, right? So if 2024, if three out of those four guys have Hall of Fame worthy careers at the end of it, right? So maybe it doesn't happen next year, right? And that's my rebuttal to your point, right? Is maybe it doesn't happen next year, but maybe over the course of the next 15 years, you get three out of those four guys that are like, yeah, this guy won three Super Bowls, this guy won one, this guy won three MVPs, and this other guy was like decent, but like he's probably not in the Hall of Fame, right? So if you can get three out of the four, I think they have the potential to be just as good, not better, but just as good as '04. And I mean, again, we're playing the game, right? Where you got to forecast 15 years from now, but
yeah, and I mean, so that's the other problem with the exercise. We're doing it in 2024, so that's why I'm like, someone has to be good next year because that's the pace of
yeah,
'04.
right,
Um, so yeah, I mean, ultimately, '04 has they have three quarterbacks. We'll call it two and a half Hall of Famers right now, as it stands right now.
right.
Because I think Philip Rivers should be in, but if he's not, I'm not gonna, grab a
Yeah,
pitchfork.
I'm not gonna be pissy about it if he doesn't get in, but I think he should be in.
Yeah, so four Super Bowls, um, two and a half Hall of Famers. Um, yeah, I mean, that's the only problem though is like and the reason I stand strongly about that because like people will talk about it at work and I'm just like, you know, if Drake May was really really special, like and I mean special, because he doesn't need to be special, he just needs to be like above average.
Right.
But if he was special, he would be out there and he would win games on his own because that's all he's got right now.
Yeah.
And I'm 90% sure he did not do that.
I think it's really hard to do that in the NFL though,
Sure is.
because everyone is so fucking good. Like
Hey,
it's
it
really
really
easy. I
is.
mean, look at Baker Mayfield in college, right? Like Baker Mayfield literally won those games, putting the team on his back in college. But it's really fucking hard to do that in the NFL because everyone is so good.
Sure is, dude.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean though, but we're talking about like and that's why like I'm glad you brought up '04 because we are talking about generationally good.
Right. Right.
Not okay,
Right.
not Hall of Very good. Like generationally good. Like the best quarterback draft class since 21 years before it, which weird what happens 20 years later. We're kind of like
Yeah. Yeah.
we're on pace.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what I mean is like if we're gonna talk about like those guys, I'm not sure 2024 will be any better than 2020 or even 2018. 2018 will be Baker Mayfield, Josh
Lamar.
Allen, Lamar Jackson. Your throwaways are Darnold and that it? Mayfield, Darnold, Allen, and then Lamar
Uh,
Jackson was late in the draft.
yeah, the Ravens traded back up with New England to get Lamar Jackson with
Pats
that
could have had him.
pick. Yeah, they could have. Rumor has it Josh wanted him. Revisionist history. Um, yeah, Baker, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen
Oh, ew.
went that 10th overall that year.
Yeah, well, that's your JP Lossman.
Yeah, and then
Um,
Lamar went 32nd.
yeah, and it doesn't look like there's much of a late round steal. No. Mason Rudolph. Yeah, I mean, so That's kind of like the thing.
Yeah,
And in the case of 2018, though, like to defend your side of things, like Josh Allen took some time. Baker Mayfield had to leave a team.
right.
Darnold, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Looks like he's turned into a pumpkin, but
Yeah, I mean, the first 10 weeks of the year, he was in the MVP discussion.
yeah. But I mean, he's got a great defense. He's got great talent at receiver. I'm not sure about his offensive line. I think they're good. Did Darisaw get hurt because
He
they
got
traded
hurt.
for Cam
Yeah,
Robinson?
yeah, he got hurt a couple weeks
So they
ago.
must be at least good enough.
Yeah,
Hawkinson's their tight end, so it's like he's got talent, he's got defense, so he's not fucking it up out there.
yeah, it's
And
to be
then
TBD on the coach, right? We don't know if Kevin O'Connell is a good coach
we
yet or
don't.
not.
And then, but even Darnold, there was a year in Carolina. He ended up getting hurt. I think he broke his shoulder blade. Dude, he was pretty good that year.
Yeah,
Like once he left the Jets, like because that's the other thing is if you start with the Jets, like you're kind of fucked.
right.
There ain't no fixing that.
Shout out to Travis Hunter. Go Knowles. There's rumors he might get some burn later this year. They're talking about getting putting Aaron Rodgers on IR or just outright cutting him, which would be leave it to Tyrod Taylor. And there's rumors that they might activate Jordan Travis off the pup.
Mm.
Um,
See, I got confused. I thought you were giving me a dig because Travis Hunter, that's who you said first. Travis
oh
Hunter
yeah,
was he was an FSU commit, flipped to Jacksonville State to go
yeah.
play for Coach Prime, and then followed him to Colorado, and now he's gonna win the
Oh
Heisman.
yeah, yeah. No, that was just a Freudian slip.
Jordan, yeah, Jordan Travis.
I
Send
mean
him out there. Why
Jordan
not?
Travis. Yeah.
Based on this year's Florida State team, Jordan Travis is the best quarterback ever to play college football.
Well, that's a great example of a quarterback single-handedly winning a game, like winning their team games in college, right? He
Yeah.
put the team on his back. Jordan Travis did that, right? But it's just
Aaron Sharp.
it's just you can't do that in the NFL. It's really fucking hard.
Nope.
There's
But
like three guys that can do that, and one of them is retired. One of them doesn't even play anymore, and it's Tom Brady. Right?
yeah.
Like it was Mahomes, Brady, and Rodgers in his prime, right? Could do that.
I mean, Peyton Manning could do it. Breeze could do it. But I mean, we're talking about good players here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we're not talking about bums.
yeah, generational guys.
Um, so yeah, I mean, just kind of put a bow on that. Again, it's like you've got a couple nice players, you've got some bad teams. I'm not convinced that these guys are all-time guys. Now, is it fair to judge that after one season? Absolutely not. But it's all I got. I don't have two seasons. I only got one. So
Right, right. And not even, you only got 12 weeks.
yeah. And we can have this conversation in a year, and I'll probably have way different opinions. And I would love to say, like, actually, I was wrong back then, but I probably won't even remember this take.
Yeah.
Or it'll be like one of those, listen, as it stands right now, like Caleb Williams looks bad. Drake May does not look. He honestly, he looks like early Josh Allen.
Yeah,
It's just, will he make the turn or will he not make the turn?
right,
We don't really know.
right.
Um, I don't really have a comp for Jaden Daniels.
The
He's
closest thing would be Lamar Jackson, but
he doesn't run like him.
he's not, yeah,
He throws way better than Lamar Jackson threw.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like he's just like a good Matt Stafford. Like,
No,
just
he actually does run the ball.
does he run the ball?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's just not like a run
I don't know.
first.
I always just see him fucking throwing deep
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and them catching it and running with
Which
it.
I'm super interested to see. I'm so fucking mad that the stupid ass Falcons are the Falcons and drafted Michael Penix because that was one of the things when he was in college. It blew my mind how accurate Michael Penix was throwing the deep ball. Like when you're going to throw the ball 40, 50 yards down the field, like, dude, I don't care what anyone says. Like it's at times it's a coin flip, right? Like you're chucking that ball down there and you're just hoping it's going to land close enough to where your guy can grab it and the other guy can't. but it seemed like every single time Michael Penix threw a deep ball, it was just hands. Like the receiver didn't even need to extend his arms or break his stride or anything. And
Yeah,
that we're
Jalen's
not going
holes
to
look
see
good.
that. We're not going to see any of it in the NFL because the Falcons are fucking retarded and
Yep.
gave Kirk Cousins $200 million and then drafted a quarterback sixth overall.
Me, unless they Packers it,
Yeah, they could.
let him sit for 4 years.
Yeah, he's also a lefty.
Well, spin's different.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's why Jalen Polk can't catch.
Yeah, he's used to the ball spinning the other way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, Jaden
I mean,
Daniels,
Jaden Daniels just honestly right now he just looks like any solid
yeah,
quarterback. Like
yeah,
I got nothing because he just looks like a solid passer
yeah.
with some mobility. Like
And then Bo Nix has really turned it around over the last month, and he looks very good. Again, he's the second best quarterback right now out of this
yeah,
draft.
I and this is I just don't believe in him. And you could probably pull metrics that would prove me otherwise. You could look at their actual roster. Like you could pull a lot of things and you're just not going to convince me because I just don't believe in the guy and ultimately it's still a 7-5 team.
Right,
Like I know the metrics are there because someone was like, Bo Nick, I don't know about him. And they were like, well, what if quarterback A had these stats and quarterback B had these stats? It's like, oh, I'll take quarterback B. And quarterback B was Bo Nix because the stats were just as good as Jaden Daniels.
right.
Um, I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to, in if it wasn't for 2021, because that class like looked like it was gonna be pretty good, and now it just is fucking terrible. And the NFL is different now too, right?
right, right,
Because like I said, in 2021, four of those guys are on different teams.
right.
Daniel Jones just got cut.
Yeah,
They're talking about cutting Aaron Rodgers. Like it is just a different NFL now. And it's like if you don't develop fast, you don't get a chance to figure this out.
right. Yeah,
Unless the guys ahead of you, like in Atlanta.
true.
But the other four, they're playing.
Yeah, because I like you said, right? Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, right, is in that conversation.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, they
I
both
like
got, I want to say Darnold got cut the year before Baker Mayfield.
I mean, Trey Lance is on his third team. I mean, he still can't crack the starting lineup over Cooper Rush, so he's probably just terrible. But
Um,
um,
yeah, I mean, they paid Daniel Jones and cut him. Like,
yeah,
this is not the old, this is not the same NFL as old. Like,
right.
it just seems like they'd rather, use their bullets on quarterback until they find one, I guess. Because they know that there's no way around it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Pat Mahomes dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just look at it like all of this is cute and all of these teams are nice stories. But what is going to happen come fucking January?
Yeah. You know what's unfortunate? And maybe this will change, right? In the next 2 to 3 years. Who knows? Um, but I feel like there's always been when you get to the generational talent, there's always been multiples, right? Like in 83, you had Marino and Elway, right? So through the 80s and the 90s, you got to watch Marino and Elway, right? Like who's this? Who's got it this week? Who's better? Who's not? Who's this? Who's that? Right? And then you had through the 90s, you had Favre and Aikman, right? And you can throw Steve Young in there. Obviously, you had Montana mixed in there too. So you had all of these guys that were all like generational guys. And it's like, who's this? Who's that? Who's better? Who's this? Like, who's the one, right? And then you had Brady and Manning, right? Always dueling it out back and forth. And then you had the guys like the Breeze, the Rivers, the Roethlisbergers, right? And you would I'll throw Aaron Rodgers in that too because he was only a year later. So you had those guys of like I feel bad calling them tier two because they're so fucking good. If Brady and Manning didn't exist, they would be tier one, right? Like it's just they weren't Brady and Manning.
Well,
But
plus, they
now,
would have won a whole lot.
well, yeah, I know.
Roethlisberger might have 7 Super Bowls.
But then you have Pat Mahomes. Who's the other generational quarterback
Again,
against him?
so
There isn't one.
there's a drop off because you've got generational talent in Lamar Jackson in terms of speed,
And
and also he can pass and he can
right, and
pass, but
I'm
like,
not trying to make the argument either because I know some people would listen and be like, "Oh, are you trying to say Pat Mahomes? You put an asterisk next to his trophies because he didn't play anyone?" It's like, no, no, no. I'm not doing
no,
that. I'm just saying it's unfortunate that we don't get to watch good quarterbacks
go
duel
toe
it
to
out
toe.
like we did for the better part of 3 decades, really, between the 80s, 90s, 2000s, right? Like, again, between go all the way back with Marino, Elway, Montana, Young, Aikman, Favre, right? And then Manning, Brady, Breeze, Roethlisberger, Rogers, Rivers, right? Like now it's Mahomes and then everyone else. So it's just unfortunate, right? So obviously Mahomes, and now I sort of am making the backhanded argument, but I mean obviously Mahomes is going to win a bunch because he's so much fucking better than everyone. Mahomes is in the same breath as a Brady, Manning, Marino, Elway, Montana. Like that's the class that he's in. He's above the Rivers, Rogers, Roethlisberger class already, right? He's already in the same breath as the other guys, right? Elway, Manning, Brady, Marino, Montana. He's already in that class, but there's no one else that's in that class.
So here's the 2006 won a Super Bowl, Peyton Manning, first one. They had to beat the Chiefs at home with Trent Green at quarterback. Was he anything special? No, but at times he was above average, and at times he was average. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I mean that offense was pretty good too. Didn't they have Dwayne Bowe and Tony Gonzalez and
A little early, but they had Gonzalez, they had Larry Johnson. Like
yeah.
they could score points. Um, but I think that was still no, that wouldn't have been Mario Schottenheimer. I don't know who the coach was. Doesn't matter. Um, but like again, but that's your wild card round. Like,
Right.
and again, so like Trent Green, like yeah, he's fine. Next,
Yeah, Bo Nix is going to be a wild card quarterback this year.
yeah, at Baltimore,
Yep.
Steve McNair.
Yeah. And that actual Baltimore defense. People
Yes,
are
because
like, "Oh
that's
yeah,
still Ray
It's
Lewis.
Ian McMillan's thing now, right?" He talks about always like, "Oh, everyone always says, "Oh, the Ravens defense is really good." No, they're not actually. They were good 10 years ago. Like Ed Reed and Ray Lewis are gone, right? Haloti Ngata's gone. Like this isn't the same Ravens
Yeah,
defense from 2007.
Sugg, like all of them. They were
Yeah.
like that was and that was such a good defense that Colts offense kicked 5 field goals.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They won 15-6, all field goals. They must have had some shitty weather because it was, dude. So you want to talk about a quarterback fucking duel? Like, I'm at, okay. So you're gonna tell me that any of these guys could go in and do this? So Peyton Manning went 15 of 30 for 170 yards and two picks. You're gonna tell me that Peyton Manning, for as good as he is and as
Yeah.
good as he was, and in 2006 specifically, how good he was in 2006, you're gonna tell me that he threw up a stat line of 15 of 30 for 170 and two picks? What would any of these quarterbacks do against that?
Yeah.
That's one of the better ones of all time.
Yeah.
And if you would like to know how good that Colts passing attack was, Steve McNair, which people forget, in 2003, both of these guys shared MVP odds or
Right.
honors.
Yeah.
18 of 29, 173 yards, 2 picks.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that Colts defense was nasty with
Except they couldn't stop the run. But
Dwight,
anyway, but
it
they
was
did. But then they
Dwight
did. That was the thing is they
Freeney
couldn't, but then they
and
did.
Robert Mathis and Bob
Freddie Keaho.
Sanders. Yeah, Bob Sanders at safety.
Yep. If he wasn't hurt,
Yeah, I know.
he always was. And then, so you've gotten through those 2 games, right?
Yeah,
New England comes to town
yeah,
and they go up 21-3 on you. And the Colts end up winning.
yeah.
So I mean, like you tell me what quarterbacks are doing that these days. None. So
Because the
that and
pass were
that's
throwing of Rashay Caldwell and fucking
Bar Gaffney,
yeah, Joe
Lawrence
Blow off the
Maroney,
street.
Lawrence Maroney, Corey Dillon.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I'm just that's what I mean though. It's like if we're gonna talk about like who's doing that.
Right.
And I don't doubt that Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson figures it out at some point and wins a title.
Yeah.
It seems like one for each is the best it's gonna be. That's just the feeling I get.
Yeah. I think I think that's pretty accurate, right? Because Lamar, if he were gonna win multiple,
He would have already
like
gotten one
I
by
feel
now.
like he would have had to get one by now.
I mean, he's in his 8th season.
I was gonna say, isn't he 30?
Gotta be.
You got
Seven.
2 more years of your prime,
Sorry,
right?
7th season. 7th season. They're both in their 7th season.
Yeah.
Oh,
Athletic prime probably 26 to 32 ish. So yeah, I don't
long road. It's a long road to get up. So that being said, how bad the quarterbacks are now,
know.
these rookies still have a long way to go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is just like I said, it's
Oh,
kind of
2020 was
unfortunate.
also Jalen Hurts,
Oh yeah.
2nd round.
He's a guy that gets a lot of uh whatever praise for not really being that good. And he's one of the guys where fantasy football
Yes.
has influenced how people think about him because he's a fantastic fantasy football quarterback, right? Because he gets a million rushing touchdowns. Um, but he's not a great quarterback. Like when it comes to get out there and play quarterback in the NFL, he's not top 5. Maybe he's top 10, but like he's closer to 10 than he is to 5 if he is in the top 10. Like he's not great, but the way
That's the
everyone
thing.
talks about him is like, oh, Jalen Hurts. Oh my God, Jalen Hurts. It's like he's not that good. He's not that good at quarterback.
Well, and this is the other thing we'll see. So he did get to a Super Bowl his
Hmm. People
second year
forget.
starting.
People forget he squats 700 pounds.
Yeah. Now he did get to a Super Bowl his second year starting.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good team this year. Like if they got to go to Detroit based on how everyone's playing right now, like they could hand Detroit some problems.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a fantastic game. If the NFL is scripted, they need to have
You know what?
Philadelphia Detroit Super Bowl. I'm sorry, NFC Championship game.
With
Um,
Buffalo playing Kansas City on the other side.
yeah, yeah,
And then ultimately, it probably doesn't matter who gets through.
no, I don't think it does.
Because that's the thing. If the NFL was truly, truly scripted, it would be Bills Lions. That would break all types of records for attendance, viewership,
Yep,
intrigue leading
it
up to
would be the most
because one of them
entertaining
has to
fucking
win.
Super Bowl
One of them
ever.
has to win.
Right, right.
2 franchises that cannot win. One of them has to.
The game would end in a tie.
Because that's what. Because
It would
what
it
do you,
would go to
dude?
like six
What do you
overtimes.
think happens if fucking Detroit, Kansas City?
Yeah. Yeah.
Detroit goes up early. Mahomes makes his way back, gets the ball at the
Detroit
end.
pisses down their legs at the end,
Yep,
right?
like a nice 3-and-out, maybe a sack on third down.
It's the Tom Brady Pat Mahomes effect, right? It's the both of them, right? Brady Mahomes sits on the sideline like a fucking assassin, and then all of a sudden they lead a drive down the field, and everyone on the other sideline goes, "Well, here we
Here
go,
we go.
here we go, here it comes," and then everyone gets immediately demoralized, and then they win, right? Like
Yep,
that's what Brady and Mahomes do. They just
yep,
they demoralize the other side because they just don't fucking quit ever. And
yep.
as soon as they start a comeback, the other side goes, "Oh, here we go.
Here again.
Yeah, yeah, here it is.
And then
Here comes Mahomes. Here comes Brady." And they
if
win the
it's
game before it's even over.
and if it's Philly, Kansas City, it doesn't go any different than it did last time.
No, no,
And if it's Philly, Buffalo, Buffalo will forget how to move the ball offensively.
yeah,
So that's how it'll go. I'll tell you that right now.
yeah, yeah. I think that's actually pretty true. If the NFL is scripted, you'll get
That'll be the final
You'll
four.
get Philly, Detroit, Buffalo, Kansas City,
And
and
then
then
it doesn't.
you'll get Buffalo, Detroit
Well, but
in the
that's the
Super
thing though,
Bowl.
because there's a narrative no matter what. There's probably a narrative no matter what. Because if you've got against Detroit, then we have the three-peat versus the franchise that's never been here.
Right.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
If it's Buffalo, Detroit, two fucking tortured fan bases. Sorry, outside of the Giants, obviously, two tortured fan bases. Philly Chiefs doesn't really do it. Philly Buffalo doesn't really do it.
Yeah.
Not like those other ones.
Yeah. Philly Buffalo would be probably the two most insufferable fan bases.
But Bills Mafia,
Well, no,
Bills
people
Mafia.
love Bills Mafia. Yeah.
People do
Yeah.
not like Philly.
I mean, just
So,
obnoxious, like obnoxiously, right?
yeah.
Like the Bills
But it's
Mafia
like
is
Bills Mafia, you
obnoxious.
look
They're
at it like,
fun, but they're obnoxious.
yeah,
And then Philly is just obnoxious.
it's an hour in
But
football.
yeah. That being said, it'll be Ravens and fucking
Cardinals.
Rams. Yeah.
Although they just lost today, too. They'll turn into a pumpkin. Yeah, it'll be the Packers.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be Ravens Packers in the Super Bowl.
They've won
Sick.
four. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be Steelers Packers. Like, wow. Could you have fucking come up with a lamer fucking
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you
outcome?
imagine if the Steelers make it to the Super Bowl with Russell
Russell
fucking Wilson
Wilson.
after they just
Sorry, if
didn't
that's
want
the
to play
case,
him?
then if someone was to, if that happens and someone was to tell me, hey, Mike Tomlin might be a better coach than Belichick, I go, I might have to agree with you.
I think I would agree. Yeah. I think
The resume doesn't match, but
If Mike Tomlin can win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson, he's the second best coach ever.
he might be the best,
And
dude.
I would listen to an argument where someone says he's better than Bill.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the quantity.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's wild. Because we saw what Bill did without Brady.
Yeah, and Tomlin, yes, he had Roethlisberger most of the time, but they're still
He only got one,
fine.
right? Bill Cowher got the first one with Roethlisberger. Then he retired.
Yes, that's a
And
good point. He only
Tomlin
has the
got the second
one,
one. Yeah, Tomlin only has one Super Bowl.
and then he lost another one. They lost to the Packers in 2010.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, an hour of football. It's great. We don't have to talk about stupid politics. Um, but we might go to World War III. We'll do 5 minutes on people being retarded. Um, apparently, Joe Biden authorized the use of U.S. missiles against Russia in Ukraine. So I saw this the other day. I thought it was kind of weird, right? Because we've been giving them money and weapons for years now, right? Like multiple years they've been in this war. And then like last week they were like, "Oh yeah, 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 by the way, you can use our stuff now that we gave you against Russia." And I was like, "All right, well, ignoring the obvious thing here, right? Where it's like, yeah, that's fucked up and that's a great way to start World War III. But like the other thing, let's backtrack a second. I don't remember when was it 2020 or 2021 when this war started? I think it was 2021. Um, the Ukraine stuff.
Didn't even tell you.
Because I remember like we had the insanity of 2020. I don't think Ukraine was part of that. So I think it was
No,
2021. Um, so you're telling me for the last almost 4 years, right? Because I think it started early in 21. We've been giving you weapons. What have you been doing with them? You just put them in a warehouse somewhere and stare at them every day, right? Like, what do you think they do with the stuff that we give them? Right? You think they just keep it in a warehouse and look at it and be like, oh, wow, look at all the weapons the United States gave us. Man, it's too bad we can't use any of it. You know what I mean? So for 3 years, almost 4 years, they've just been collecting the shit we've given them. Like, it's really too bad we can't use any of the stuff the United States has been giving us. But now all of a sudden, last week, Biden goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, you can use the stuff that we gave you against Russia." And now Russia's like, "Hey, fuck you. We might have to drop a nuke." Like I think Putin literally came out and was like, "I don't know, we may have to explore a nuclear response in Ukraine if that's what happens." And again, there's so many different offshoots here, but like Biden's a fucking cunt because you literally have like 6 weeks left, dude, before you're not president anymore. You're already not president. You haven't been. You're an invalid. Although, like we saw in those videos, magically after the election, he's got a spring in his step again, and his speech is a little bit better. So who knows? They stopped poisoning his ice cream. They took the lead out. They stopped putting the lead in his ice cream.
yeah,
Are those
move into
sprinkles? Yeah,
a strictly asbestos room.
yeah. Um, but I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? And everyone's like, well, you do this in order to guarantee that there's a war and it continues right into Trump because Trump's talking about ending the war and the military industrial complex. This is how they make money. It's a never ending wheel. Like it has to keep turning to make money, to constantly make more stuff and all this stuff. And I get it, right? And I know that's how it works. But it just seems too on the nose, right? Like it's way too obvious and too out in the open. It's like, what are we actually doing? So I don't know. Who knows? That Russia's probably not going to drop any nukes, right? Because Putin has already talked to Trump, and he's not even the president yet, and he's already come out and said like, I want to end the war, but I only want to talk to Trump about it. So like, I'm pretty sure he can fucking hold off for another few weeks. Um,
Well, I think Ukraine needs to be smart too, and it's like, oh, we can finally use that stuff you gave. It's like, first of all, if we wanted to fucking use it, we would.
yeah,
That's the other thing. Ukraine doesn't want to get into a full fucking arms race, like a legit
no, they would get
fucking
annihilated.
real war
Yeah,
with
they would
Russia.
literally get blown off the map because Russia is a nuclear superpower and
Yes, they would.
Ukraine
And
is
that's
not.
the other thing is if like if Putin's like, listen, just fucking stay on your side, we'll fucking bomb some fields or whatever,
Yeah,
but like just fucking chill.
yeah.
And they go, nah, fuck you. It's like, listen,
You
chill,
know,
or I'll fucking drop. Like, hey, listen, like I will fucking drop a nuke on you. I don't give a fuck anymore.
yeah.
Because
You know,
because that's the other piece. Once the other guy does come in,
oh yeah,
he's not gonna start a war.
yeah. So the funny thing that everyone always talks about is mutually assured destruction, right? And that's why like no one ever drops nukes and shit like that and all this stuff. It's like, but I look at it, truthfully. Now I'm not a global fucking economist or politician or anything like that. But the way I look at it, right, is keeping in the back of your mind, knowing that there is mutually assured destruction. I don't think that in and of itself is the reason why there hasn't been a an all out nuclear war. I think because a nuclear superpower would never drop a nuke on another nuclear superpower,
No, it
because
makes no
then
sense.
you would have, again, the world would just kind of pop, right? So it would cease to exist because then you just fire everything. However, everyone that's talking about, well, if Russia drops a nuke on Ukraine, that's it. We're in all out. This is it. The world's going to melt down. Why? Ukraine doesn't have nukes, right? And like you play that game and you take that thought, the next step, it's like, oh, so you think that if Russia drops a nuclear bomb on a country that doesn't have nuclear weapons capabilities, that it's somehow our responsibility to then drop a nuke on Russia, which then starts the end of the world? That's not how this works. I don't think that would
It
happen
doesn't.
at all. I think Russia could drop a nuke on Ukraine tomorrow and nothing would happen. No one would do anything because you like a nuclear superpower isn't going to directly attack another nuclear superpower because that's dumb, right? Like I said, that's the end of the world. But like it's these people, right, that they think or they want, right? They want war. And they're like, well, if Russia drops a nuke on Ukraine, that's it. That's the end of the world. No, it's not. I don't think so. I don't think we have any that doesn't justify, like, so what, you want Pakistan to drop a nuke on, and also why does it have to be the United States too? Fuck off. There's like 12 countries that have nukes. So it's like, oh, so Russia drops a nuke on Ukraine. Oh, you want Pakistan to drop a nuke on Russia? Right? Well, no. They wouldn't do that. Why would we want, then why would the United States?
Why would
Well,
anyone do
it's
that?
different. It's all, how's it different? Right?
We're the world's protectors.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want Germany to drop a nuke on Russia? Well, no, they don't have to. Okay, so why would we? Germany's right next to Russia. We're not. Like that's what I mean. Like people, I don't know. It's fucking slimy and I hate people and I hate the way they think about certain things and the way they talk about things because it doesn't actually make any sense. And they always overreact. Everything is the worst thing that's ever happened, right? Like I said, truthfully, I think Russia could drop a nuke tomorrow. Nothing would, no war would happen, right? It's not the end of the world. I think you just sanction the shit. I think every country in the world outside of China probably would sanction the fuck out of Russia. Um, which is also unfortunate because I heard on a podcast recently that someone said, I forget, I might be mixing up quotes, but this might have came from Martin Luther King. But it also might not have. I don't know. Hey, that's a great segue, right?
Maybe also come from a crackhead on the street, but
Yeah,
who
who
knows?
knows? Um, it's a great description. But someone said that when you sanction a country, all it does is hurt the innocent people, like the and the poor people, because the rich people in the government are still going to get whatever they're going to get. And it's the people that can't afford that live in the country that try and live their lives day to day that get fucked by that. And I was like, actually, yeah, that's a really kind of smart way to look at it, right? Because like if you sanction Russia, right, and you say we're not going to give you any of this shit anymore, all the rich people in Russia are still going to get it. They're just going to pay more for it. But like the regular everyday person that works as a fucking custodian, right? Like they can't afford to, take a private jet to Mongolia to get what they need to get and fly back. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to hop over the border into Latvia to pick up the stuff that they can't get because of the embargo or whatever. So I was like, oh yeah, that's a kind of an interesting way to look at it. But yeah, that's a quick 5-10 minutes on why Biden is a cunt. Just get out of office, dude. You're done. Or die, whatever. I don't care. You're old, right? Like,
But don't die. That means the other one gets in for a
oh
fucking
shit,
week.
that's true too. Yeah, don't die. Don't die, dude. You gotta last until January 6th or January 20th. I don't know when.
20th.
Yeah. I think the 6th is when Congress reconvenes and they certify the election
Yeah,
results.
because that was the thing. It's
That was the
also
riot. The 20th is the
it's the
inauguration.
Epiphany.
Yeah, it's a little Christmas. The
Three
three
Kings,
wise men that
Three
didn't
King
have
Day.
fucking GPS. They weren't very wise, clearly, if they got lost.
Yeah, how come no one questioned that?
Yeah. All right. You want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up. I actually have to pull this up really fast because as you said that, um I thought of something I was talking about. So I'm gonna um so when we were in Italy, were we in the Vatican? I don't think we were in the Vatican. I think we were in Florence actually. And one of the rooms in Florence, I don't know who the painter was, but they painted a big thing on gold, whatever. So I don't know what time period that was. Um, and one of the paintings was told to us about when um the angels picked up Mary's house and brought it to Italy. And Michaela's mentioned a couple times. Um, she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember when, like they told us that like the angels picked up the house and brought it to wherever." So I also didn't think much of it because I thought that that was like a biblical thing, right? And it's
Yeah,
like, oh, it's biblical, whatever. And some of the stories are a little bit crazy, especially like, you believe what you want to believe. I'm not going to tell you what to believe. I'm not going to tell you what not to believe.
right.
But it turns out that this idea that the angels went, picked up Mary's house from fucking Nazareth, whatever bullshit, and moved the house to probably Loreto, but Loreto, Italy. Turns out that was not a biblical story. That
Okay.
story goes back to about 1294 or something. Because she said that to me this morning. She goes, "Oh, like how and whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, but wasn't that like a I go, wasn't that like a biblical thing?" She goes, "That is not biblical." I go, what do you mean it's not?" And she goes, "That was never in the Bible." She goes, and she went to Catholic school for however long, so she's not like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, so then you go back and it's like, that was only in the 13th century that story came around. So it's just like another one of those things, like, um, I don't know if it was the next it's way after the Roman Empire. So like that's just like, the Italians or, you know, like the Holy Roman Empire, because that's probably Holy Roman Empire or something
Yeah, didn't that
around that
go
time.
until like the
That
1700s?
went forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the Pope probably was like, okay, well, what if like we, like kind of do this? So I'm really trying to find the fucking story. I'm gonna have to paraphrase it because I cannot actually fucking find the actual details. Anyway, the the idea that the angels picked up the house and flew it to Italy comes from the idea that a rich family in the area commissioned that the house like be moved or whatever. So, but what they did was they they found like some bricks, or they found some coins, and the coins are usually used in the foundation. Um, I really wish I could find the summary that gave this all to me. Um, so they found like either some, because I guess they used to put coins in the foundation or something. So I guess like if things like did go to ruins, like you could find like who commissioned it or
Okay.
um whatever. Like so if you were like a super rich family, you'd have like your own coin. Um so like they found some of that in the foundation, or they found some blocks that seemed to match the ones that were back in fucking Nazareth or whatever.
Hmm.
Um so so the thing that I saw said like the most likely situation that probably happened was the family that commissioned like building of this shrine back in Laredo. Wasn't that anything act like you didn't actually move the house. You got some pieces from the house, or you got some blocks from the house, and then you moved them to where this shrine or whatever was going to be built in Italy. And the issue is the family was Angeli, which in both Latin and Greek means angels. So, this story that the angels flew the fucking house, obviously, no one flew anything,
Right.
but it could be as simple as the angel family translation, right?
Yep.
Commissioned this shrine be built, and then someone went to the place, either got some blocks, I don't know if it was in ruins or what, but got some blocks or got some coin, whatever, and then moved this stuff over.
Yeah.
And that's how it was built. Which again, I'm paraphrasing because I found a really good summary earlier and I didn't put it in the sheet, and I didn't um obviously because I didn't put it in the sheet, that means I didn't link it. And
Yeah.
I tried to find it on the fly, but just because whatever you said something, and it made me fucking remember that
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
this morning. Um
I love shit like that where it quite literally things get lost in translation, right?
yes, that's what
Where
appears to be happening now. So now you have like these super famous fucking paintings, which I mean they're so famous, but I can't even remember who did them. But I saw them. I remember where they are. I could probably look it up. And a simple translation error
yeah,
turns this into like Christian almost Christian mythology, because it's not biblical,
right. Right.
about the angels picked up the house and flew it to fucking Italy.
Yeah.
And some of the arguments too is it's almost like a pride thing, like, oh well, in Italy, like obviously, like, obviously the angels flew the house here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
why would
Yeah.
it stay in
Yeah.
Israel or Judea? Or I don't even know what it was by the 13th century.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't stay there. They're gonna fly it here. It's way better here. And then
Yeah.
it's like, no, dude, someone commissioned this shrine to be built, and then there was a translation issue, and now some of these super famous paintings are fucking angels flying this house, which did not happen,
I like I
obviously.
said, I love shit like that. Like I think it's hilarious. Like, I mean, I love a good documentary, right, on history and stuff like that. But I always think it's funny when people find these like ancient stone tablets or like hieroglyphs or whatever, and they're like, oh, we need to decipher like what was the message they were trying to tell us. Like, oh, there's a picture of a bird, and maybe they mean in the stars. There was something that's kind of like there's deeper meaning. And I always sit there and I go, what if someone was just like really into drawing birds? You know what I mean? Like, what if, like, you have no idea if this thing is 2,000 years old, you cannot even fathom to begin what this one person sitting in a cave 2,000 years ago in the middle of nowhere was doing. Maybe they were just bored. Maybe they were just drawing pictures. Or like, but I just think it's funny. I know some of it has been properly translated, right, with like hieroglyphs and Egyptian and stuff like that. But some of the stuff where it's just like, oh, what does this mean? What could this possibly mean? Right? Like there's whatever glyphs or anything like that. And it's like, I don't know, maybe they just like fucking animals. I have no idea.
I found it. And like tradition holds that the Holy House arrived in Laredo on December 10th, 1294, after a miraculous rescue from the Holy Land as the Crusaders were driven out of Palestine at the end of the 13th century. So that's what historically was going on. So in 1900, someone found documents in the Vatican archive saying that in the 13th century, a noble Byzantine family, the Angeli family, rescued materials from Our Lady's house from Muslim invaders and had them transported to Italy for the building of a shrine. Okay, so that's like the why, right? Like it wasn't
Yeah,
just out of nowhere. It was theoretically to save destruction.
right, right.
The name Angeli means angels in both Greek and Latin. Further historic diplomatic correspondences discuss the holy stones taken away from the house of Our Lady, Mother of God, in the fall of 1294. Holy stones were included in the dowry of Angeli for her marriage of Angel, whatever. A coin minted by a member of the family was also found in the foundation of the house in Loretto. In Italy, coins were often inserted into a building's foundation to indicate who was responsible for its construction. Excavations in both Nazareth and Laredo found similar materials at both sites. The stones make up the lower part of the walls in Laredo. And there are inscriptions in Greek characters with Hebrew characters. Yeah. So yes, that's how it was actually put. So yes, the again, I was mostly stumbling over my fucking description because I was Googling at the same time. Um, so yeah, nice translation issue you got there, right?
Yeah, pretty sick.
And I was gonna say, there's no way I'm gonna find the painting I need.
All right. So my final thought is so obviously this week is Thanksgiving. Um, and grocery stores are just going to be crazy regardless. Doesn't matter, right? Like I went to Market Basket yesterday. I went a little bit later than I normally do, and it was packed and it was fine. And it's whatever, right? Like I'm not one of these people that's going to go in and huff and puff and be like, oh, I can't believe it's a fucking madhouse in here. Oh my God. Oh, whatever. It's like, yeah, man, it's the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Like, did you think it was going to be dead? Like, did you really were you hoping, like, oh man, I'm gonna pull into an empty parking lot? Like, let's not be fucking retarded here, right? So, um, besides that, right? Sort of along the lines of because Thanksgiving and the holidays are coming up, whatever. Over the last couple weeks, we've been talking a lot at work. I work with a lot of like 40, 50 plus women, right? And they're all talking about like, oh, so it all, what it all started was bitching about Stop and Shop and whatever technical issue that they've had in their like whatever inventory or ordering system, whatever the fuck's been going on, and they don't have anything in their stores or they haven't had anything. Like their stores have been emptier than normal recently. That's what it started, right? Everyone was bitching about that. They're like, "Oh, I go to Stop and Shop and the shelves are empty." And then the other woman was like, "Yeah, I noticed my Stop and Shop is empty too." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on and all this." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't notice any of that because I just shop at Market Basket." And then it's like you open the floodgates. Oh, how do you do that? I could never shop at Market Basket. Well, why? Well, it's just too crazy. There's too many people there. I go, yeah, but it's so much cheaper. Like I know you would save so much money shopping at Market Basket, but it's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. I go, you, you sure? Like one of the women was like, "Oh yeah, like I normally shop at Stop and Shop, and then with this, like I went to Market Basket and I looked, and like some things are like a dollar, a whole dollar or two cheaper." I'm like, "Yeah, like Market Basket is way fucking cheaper than everywhere else. Like Stop and Shop is pretty expensive. I mean, Shaw's is probably more expensive than Stop and Shop, and you can't find them in it. There's a lot less Shaw's around now. Um, I go Whole Foods is ridiculous, right? And ever since Amazon bought them, I don't think they're as good as they used to be. I go, so I just go to Market Basket. But like without fail, you bring up Market Basket to people. I don't know if you run into this too with like clients at the gym or whatever, but people just like huff and puff and they go, Market Basket. I could never deal with Market Basket. It's like, what did you think? Like, I don't know. Dude, it's a grocery store, right? It's going to be busy. Like you just kind of fucking do it, right? Like, are you in the grocery store to hang out and like stay away from people? Because that's not the place to do that. But like, I know you and I are really similar because, obviously we also shopped together for years when we were going to Market Basket in West Bridgewater. But like, you and I are the exact same. Like, we have the shit that we need to get. I get what I need to get, and then I get the fuck out of there. I don't like mosey around, be like, oh, let me look down this aisle. Oh, let me see if I need anything down here. No, I don't need to go down there. I don't need anything that's down there. Like, I'm not gonna like take my time and poke around. Like maybe I'll poke around the meat section, right, and see if they have some weird stuff or stuff like that. But I'm just gonna like walk down an aisle just to walk down. Like again, I have the shit that I need to get, I get it, and then I get out. It's like I don't know what it is, but it's literally like there's probably, I don't know, six or seven of us at work um that usually go when we all eat lunch together. And all of them, every single one of them, Market Basket. I could never. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand what people's repulsion is to Market Basket when it's so much cheaper. Because in the same breath, they'll say, "Oh yeah, it's so much cheaper," but I could never do it. I don't understand.
So the part that no one wants to say is they don't like black people. What it is. They're just not saying it. Because for years I would be like, I would go
I
to
almost
Brockton
just
Market, but
spit my drink everywhere.
that's what it is, dude. Like I'm telling you, because like for years, for 3+ years, I went to Brockton Market Basket.
Yeah.
And anyone who asks, it's like, oh, well, where do you go grocery shop? I go to Market Basket. They go, which one's near you? I go, Brockton. Like, oh my God, Brockton. I can't go to Brockton. I go, why? It's like, oh, there's just so many people in Brockton. I go, there's less people in Brockton than West Bridgewater. I go,
Yeah.
West Bridgewater is way busier than Brockton.
Yeah.
No, I can't do Brockton.
That's actually really funny because the Market Basket here is in South Attleboro, so there's a lot of whatever ethnic minority you want to choose, right? Whether it's black, there's a lot of Portuguese, Hispanic, whatever.
Yeah, that's what it is, dude. I'm like, because so I go
That's
to the
actually
one.
pretty hilarious. I never thought of it. I never put two and two
That's
together
why they
like
don't
that
want to go.
before.
That's why
Yeah.
they don't want to go to like that. So I mean, a lot of people don't want to go to Brockton in general, which I okay, fine. Like if you don't want to go to Brockton at all, gotcha.
Yeah.
But if you would go to the Dick's Sporting Goods in Brockton, but you won't go to Brockton Market Basket, that's the part you're not telling me.
Right. Right.
And now that I go to Hanover now, all white people, awful. It is fucking terrible in there. And what I've discovered is a couple things. Number one, everyone's best friends with each other. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know you shop here. Getting ready for Thanksgiving? Oh, on the Friday before Thanksgiving? No,
Yeah.
I was getting ready for the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Like, and
Now I'm
then
buying stuff for Easter.
it's like, oh wait, oh, it's Thanksgiving next week? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Is it always the 4th, 3rd? Like, what the fuck kind of banter is that shit?
Yeah.
And what I noticed, because I noticed it right away, first order that I was behind in line at Market Basket in Hanover, $290. I go, I haven't seen a $300 order in years. And I definitely didn't see one in Brockton
Yeah,
because not like so this might in general people from a different country don't buy a week's worth of groceries at once.
right,
They are culturally, they're usually used to buying what they need for a day, maybe 2 days. They
right,
don't buy shit and sit on it for a week.
right,
They get
right,
things usually a little bit more fresher, a little bit more frequently. Like that's what they're used to doing. Like if they're used to going to a market, they go to the market every morning.
right,
So the orders are way smaller,
right.
which means they don't take up as much space in the fucking aisles.
Yeah,
And because in Brockton there's a million different fucking cultures, not everyone's best friends with each other. Not everyone talks to each other. No one talks.
yeah.
Like some guy at the fuck, like I was looking at the whole prosciutto. He goes, "Oh, can I help you with anything?" I go, "Oh my fucking god, you people speak." I was like, "Fuck!" An employee hasn't spoke to me in years.
Yeah, that's actually really funny because that's how Attleboro is. Like no one speaks, no one does,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like people don't stop and chit chat, and employees don't stop in the aisle to ask you if you need
No.
anything. Everyone
The
just keeps fucking
fuck?
walking. Yeah.
What the fuck is what
Yeah, don't talk to me.
ugh.
Leave me alone.
Um that's the thing is like in now Hanover, it's like because it's all white people and it's just like everyone's just got these big fucking orders. Everyone's got a problem. Everyone's got a question. Everyone's a fucking friend. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck, just move on with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I said, there's six or seven of us every day at lunch that we sit there, and all of them, they're like, I don't know how you shop at Market Basket. And it's funny because they're all white women.
Oh, it is, dude.
There's two white guys, but they don't do the food shopping, which is
Ugh.
very
Same reason why they
hilariously
won't shop at like a
stereotypical.
Walmart.
Yeah,
Oh, Walmart. Oh, no. No.
yeah. Oh, but
Well,
Target,
so
yeah.
here's the thing. If I need a Pyrex dish, and if I'm gonna buy a Pyrex dish, Walmart sells a Pyrex dish. Now, if you don't want Anchor brand, I'm with you.
Right,
But to buy Pyrex here or Pyrex there, it's the same fucking thing,
right, right.
except Walmart's cheaper. But yeah, you have to
Yeah,
deal with some people that physically, mentally disabled, different cultures, different earnings.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I understand too if it's a convenience thing, right? Like I'm solely dedicated to Market Basket. Like like when we lived in Mansfield, I would drive to West Bridgewater, right, to go to Market Basket. And I would drive by probably three grocery stores on my way. So if you're gonna tell me that it's a convenience thing, right, and there's a Stop and Shop 2 minutes from my house, and that's why I shop there, okay, fine. I get it, right? Like you're not gonna get any grief from me, but it's the people that are like, oh, I could never go to Market Basket. It's like, oh, but now it's funny that you say that.
You
It's
don't have
like,
to
oh,
look
so
into it any further.
you just don't like black people.
I guess to be fair, it is all
Yeah, yeah, you just don't like
minorities.
minorities. Yeah, that's funny. That's actually really funny. So, yeah, just one of those random things, right? That it's one of when you start, because I mean, maybe because I'm, slightly autistic, but I'm really good at noticing patterns. And it's just over time, like I've always noticed the same pattern with people. They always have the exact same response anytime you talk about grocery shopping and Market Basket. It's like, oh, I don't know how you do it. I go, oh, I could never. Oh,
Actually, not that difficult. You just go in and buy what you want.
yeah, it's really not that hard. And again, my thing too is like the expectations thing. Like if you walk into a grocery store, any grocery store, it doesn't need to be Market Basket. If you walk into any grocery store at 9 o'clock on a Saturday, it's gonna be fucking packed. Like to be upset that there's a lot of people in a grocery store at 9 o'clock on a Saturday, or God forbid, at any time on a Sunday, like, yeah, that's peak time when people go grocery shopping, right? Because most people work Monday through Friday. So the only time they have to go grocery shopping is Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to go to the grocery store and not have a lot of people be there, Go at Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Shouldn't be a lot of people there then. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It just kind of blows my mind the way people react to like obvious everyday things, right? Like the grocery store being crowded. Yeah, I get it. If you don't want it to be crowded, go at 7:30 in the morning, right? On a Saturday. That's what I do. I'll go 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm in and out of there 45 minutes, right? I'm down the road and back home in less than an hour. But I don't know. People are just weird, I suppose. But no, I'm the weird one.
Yep.
So that's going to do it. So thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. If you're an audio only guy, subscribe over there as well. If you leave us a review on Spotify and iTunes. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod, Twitter is Sarcasm_Speaks, Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Website, sarcasmspeaks.com. Check out the show notes below. Support the sponsors, support us. And until next time, good night, everybody.